So what would be the impact on the forest once the road is in, and as far as ongoing impacts?
Well, in order for CalTrans, we are going to stop this project, so I just want to say that now. But in order for CalTrans to...
Sure seems like pretty big vehicles get in here already.
Yeah, STAA trucks, which is also the misinformation that CalTrans puts out as the primary reason that they want this highway. We know that there will be increased militarization. We know that's happening all over the country, and that nuclear materials are the County of Humboldt is desiring to move nuclear materials. 1,500 trucks. The Humboldt County Planning Commission said the other night they want to take 1,500 trucks worth of transport nuclear materials, which is always a dangerous, bad idea, out of Humboldt, and that's one of the motivations they gave finally.
You mean the old Humboldt Bay plant has that much waste that has to be trucked out?
That's what they're saying right now.
Wow.
And that did not get said or mentioned until actions started to happen and people started to question what the real impetus for this plan was. In addition to that, in talking with people about this highway expansion plan, within the past 5 years, the Humboldt County Planning Commission spoke about a Yucca Mountain plan, which is probably a federal plan, and that with the development of the Humboldt Bay port, in conjunction with highway expansion, that nuclear materials from all over the world could be coming in. It actually could be forced upon the Humboldt Bay, could be coming in through the water to the Humboldt Bay and then transported via highway to Yucca Mountain. So it's much bigger than CalTrans is representing this plan to be. They talk about it like it's no big deal, and that is a lie. And that is to hide all the many ramifications it's going to have on our community forever. As far as the forest, CalTrans had to get an incidental take permit. An incidental take permit means that the Endangered Species Act. Essentially, it's a run around the Endangered Species Act. It says we know there's endangered, threatened species and habitat here, and we want permission to harass, capture, kill. Most of the time, take means kill, and we want permission to do that. So in order for CalTrans to even put this plan through, which they tried to do initially without any environmental impact statement, they tried to secretly push it through without any public input a few years ago without any environmental impact statement, and someone in CalTrans realized that, and it caused a bunch of waves in CalTrans, but that's the only reason that there was any public process for this environmental review. But CalTrans had to get an incidental take permit. So we know before they even start anything that their plan is to kill and possibly habitat and species that are nowhere else on Earth. I mean, that's why species are listed.
Wouldn't the noise from the construction just be enough to require that kind of incidental take permit?
Yeah, if it interferes with essential activities like nesting or reproduction,
or
the noise would. Yeah. I mean, it's. Somebody was saying today, someone at the protest who's lived here for many decades was saying, even for CalTrans to talk about being able to do this without affecting the trees, if you have never been here, then you might believe that. But if you've been on this stretch of the 101 that is squeezed, in between forest, you'd know that that's absolutely impossible. You can, and so if we can picture what happens when highways are expanded and they have tons of machinery and they have to detour all the traffic, there's a lot of consequences that come that are just in addition to the actual expansion.
So what can people who aren't in this area do to help?
People who aren't in this area, one idea that we heard recently was people pressuring their CalTrans, where in their, or not CalTrans, but their Department of Transportation, wherever they are, or other parts of California, putting pressure. We understand that the feds are also encouraging and funding and motivated for this project to go through, because we also know that there are plans in this Humboldt region to reroute the 101 through the city of Eureka, to route it near the armory in Eureka that's been kind of asleep for a while, and other, the development of the port, all kinds of expansion and development that will completely ruin our place here. As far as what other people, we'd love for them to get in touch with us. If people want to come here and organize with us, we are organizing direct action because we believe that the people can stop this. There are already 2 lawsuits, one in federal court, one in state court. There have been many comments made on the environmental impact report. There have been attempts by large groups of community members to get the county board of supervisors to change their stance because they rubber stamped the CalTrans plan. And we understand that direct action is necessary when all of those things have been exhausted. And so we invite people from the north, south, east, west, come, and this is like no other place in the world.
Is there anything that can be done at the federal level that you'd like people to work on? Any way of cutting off the funding, for example, as a boondoggle?
Well, I suppose there could be focus on pressuring for that funding to be withdrawn. I do a lot of work around documenting and supporting victims of police brutality, and so I'm familiar through different experiences and also what I engage in with my community with militarization and increased militarization. So I would also say wherever people are, keep your act, be involved, prevent, stop, do whatever you can to keep militarization from entering or increasing where you live, and also corporate invasion, because that's what we see this highway expansion as being, an invasion. It's an invasion of corporate and military vehicles and forces, and so we want to resist invasion, and I encourage people to do that wherever they are.
How can they get in touch?
We have an email. We are Richardson Grove Action Now. Our email is rgroveact ionnow@gmail.com. So it's rgroveactionnow@gmail.com, and we also have a phone number, and it's 707-602-7551. We'd love to hear from you and see how we can work together.
Thank you very much, and good luck.
News, weather, and sports 7 days a week. News Channel 3, the spirit of the North Coast.
Good evening, and thank you for staying up late with us on this Monday night. Back to the local headlines. Protesters opposed to CalTrans' Richardson Grove Road Improvement Project rallied this afternoon in southern Humboldt. Richardson Grove Action Now put on today's rally, and the group is also behind a large banner over the highway that reads, quote, "No road widening. CalTrans lies and ruins our lives," end quote. Activists are also reportedly staging sit-ins in some of the trees. CalTrans is planning to widen Highway 101 near Richardson Grove to make it easier for large trucks to pass through. A dozen people were arrested about 2 weeks ago during a protest over the project at the Eureka CalTrans office.
CalTrans says 4 Avenue of the Giants bridges need some repairs and attention. In fact, one may have to be torn down and completely rebuilt because of structural deficiencies.
We're just staying ahead of when we would have serious issues with the bridge. We want to address those issues before they become serious.
CalTrans recently announced this proposed project to upgrade and fix 4 bridges along the famous roadway.
They were built over 50 years ago, and several of them have wood railings, and those aren't crash tested to modern standards.
Possible improvements that CalTrans is studying include traffic calming features such as narrowing lanes, street lighting, and adding bike lanes.